Hello.
Hello.
This section of the Ramsgate Festival, the Ramsgate is Great Festival, is about writers. We're two writers who live here most of the time. Nicholas Rankin, my husband, who is a historian and biographer, and I'm Maggie Gee, I'm a novelist. We lived here all of the time during lockdown, and we love it here, as many writers have done before us. The poet Coleridge, who wrote Kubla Khan and The Ancient Mariner, used to come here for months, and he used to swim in the sea over there. Wilkie Collins, who wrote The Moonstone and The Woman in White, had a mistress on one cliff and lived with his wife on the other.
That's Ramsgate.
That's Ramsgate. Anyway, Nick Rankin is a historian, and I don't think he has a mistress on the other cliff. And he's going to talk first about why it's great to live and work in Ramsgate. Nick.
I think people come here, or why you come to Ramsgate, you can see behind me the reasons. The sea and the sand and the sky. And over there you can see behind me too the white cliffs and Maggie there. That is time. That is solid time. That is geological time. If you think about it, it's a foot or 2 foot, I think it's about 2 or 3 feet of cliff is 1 million years of history, creatures crushed down. You look up at the sky, the stars above at night, millions of years of time. When you live by the sea, and if you come to Ramsgate, the sea makes you think of time, makes you think of eternity. It ties you to the whole of the rest of the planet. It's completely different from living in a city. As I say, you have this deep time here, but behind me, if you look over there, you are looking towards the white cliffs of Dover and Pegwell Bay. You have human history. English history begins here. You have the Romans arriving over there, 54, 55 BC, Julius Caesar leads 12,000 men over to invade. After the Romans go in 410, the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, Hengist and Horsa landed there, 447. 100 years later, St. Augustine arrives with Christianity. He becomes the first Archbishop of Canterbury, and it all happened over there. So, English history is here, and it goes on through the ages, ebbing and flowing. Admiral Nelson parked his ships over there. Up there, the Duke of Wellington marched his troops. They were fighting against Napoleon, but there have been other people who wanted to invade. Philip II, Louis XIV, after them the Kaiser, Hitler. This is where the little ships went to Dunkirk. This is where, at Manston, the people flew off to fight in the Battle of Britain or to try and sink the battleships in the Channel Dash. Ebbs and flows of people through time. And if you come to Ramsgate, you don't have to come in a group. Walk around on your own. It's a city with layers of architecture and time. It's a lovely place. Me as a writer...
You as a boy.
I was a boy, that's true. As a boy, my wife points out that in 1957, I spent the summer over there at Kingsdown. So actually coming to live here, I've come back to a place where I was a child. We were there for 6 months in 1957 because basically at that time we lived in Africa. I was a boy in colonial Kenya, as it was called then, which is Kenya in East Africa. And there was a rebellion then called the Mau Mau, which led to the independence of Kenya in 1964. Now, I am writing a book about that time, and it's curious. Lockdown is good for writers in that you have to sit at your desk and write your book. But this idea of being enclosed with something fearful outside, which is rather what lockdown was like, is reminiscent of childhood. And I've been thinking again about those times when there were bars on the windows and the house was locked, and looking at old films about it, and the sense of fear that there was has been interesting. So that has been the book that I've been writing during lockdown. And again, history, when you want to get away from it and the horrors of it, to walk out here, to walk on the beach, to see these views and these vistas is marvellous. It is a solace. The sun rises here in the east, The skies here are fantastic. Turner said
You've
they're the...
accidentally got me, I think. haven't you?
Well, no, yeah, well, I have got you there. You're with me always, darling. But the fact is that Turner said these are the finest skies in Europe. So this is a marvelous place to be a writer, to walk, to see, as I say, the stars and the sea and the sky. And I work on the middle floor, and on the top floor of the house, in the attic of the house, works Maggie Gee, the mad woman in the attic.
Yeah, I'm the mad woman in the attic. And I'm also the person who loves these beaches, wonderful sandy beaches. And you can walk along from Pegwell Bay, where everyone landed, from the Vikings to the Romans to the present day, right along round the coast to Margate. So what I've been writing about is the present and the future. And the thing about the present, of course, is that it's given a lot of problems to writers because the present is suddenly utterly different because of COVID. And everyone behaves differently, social life is different, the way we behave with each other is different, and somehow or other all this had to be put into the book. So, without overwhelming the book, because who knows, in 5 years' time, COVID, we hope, will be forgotten, and we hope we'll be able to hug each other again, and we hope also that Ramsgate, which is still a lovely place to be, will go back to how it was when it was notable for being very friendly and sociable. Lots of people here who write, lots of people who cook, lots of people who paint or make ceramics or do lots of other creative things, wonderful art classes. We're very welcoming. Do come and see us. I'll just tell you a tiny bit about my novel. Okay, so in my novel, it does in a way lead on from what Nick Rankin has been talking about all the people who came here, because arrive in the harbour one morning in my invented world, some amazing migrants. They have large heads, they're tall and heavy, and, well, they don't have any clothes on, and nobody knows where they've come from. They don't speak English. It's how they settle in. It's how we learn to live with them and they learn to live with us. And the secret that I'm not telling is that they are actually Neanderthals who've come over from Gibraltar. If you know Gibraltar, you'll know that there are more tunnels under the rock than there are roads above it. So I imagine that the Neanderthals, who were actually first found there and who last survived in Europe there, I imagine they've survived all this time. And they've lived here until global warming, until increasing heat has made them come north. And they come to us because we in Ramsgate, like Gibraltar, have palms and we have ravens and we have a lot of sun and we have friendly people. So that's my book. Nick is doing real history, I'm doing imaginary history. We both love it here, and we both want to say, as part of this festival, do come down to Ramsgate. It's a lovely place, even in winter.
And I would add, if it's good enough for Queen Victoria, who stayed here as a princess and bought Ramsgate, Frith's Ramsgate Sands, if it's good enough for Queen Victoria, it's good enough for you too.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye. Hope
Goodbye.
to see you. Bye.